In the last class, we analyzed downlink cellular performance from stochastic geometry. In particular, we computed the assigned coverage probability and the rate coverage probability. The channel we took included the random fading, and we just focused on Rayleigh fading. In this class, we will extend the analysis to shadowing also. So what is shadowing and how is it different from the fading? In previous classes, we have saw that shadowing is a long-term effect and it changes very slow, while the fading is much more fast compared to the signal. So fading can be caused by movement of vehicles, a movement of scatters in the environment, and it changes very fast. While shadowing is generally caused by the obstacles like tree or big vehicles which are not moving that much. So if a particular channel between a transmitter and the receiver sees some fading, it can change very fast, even in one simple time. While the shadowing, if it is there, we can expect it going to be there for some time, so that in which lot of transmission slots can pass. So first we will see how we can model this shadowing. Shadowing also is a random variable and it can be modeled using some distribution. So let's assume the psi I denotes the phase shadowing for a base station at xi. Now we assume in this case as each base station see a independent and identically distributed fading shadowing. So the total instantaneous received power at the concerned user from the ith base station would be equal to Hi, which is the normal fading, Pt is transmit power, norm xi to power minus alpha denotes the path loss, and psi I, which is the shadowing gain. So basically it's a additional gain or loss in the received power. So what distribution people take for shadowing? Most of the cases shadowing is modeled using log normal. It means the log of psi I is Gaussian. And what is the justification behind it? Basically, if suppose there are n scatters between the transmitter and the receiver, from each scatter there is a gain in power which is equal to mi. Then the total gain would be m1, m2 up to mn. And from the law of large number, if their n is large, then if you take the log of psi I is sigma log of mi, where log of mi is a random variable. So summation would be more towards going to the Gaussian random variable. Okay, so now how is shadowing is different than fading? Because at least from the analysis point of view, we saw that the instantaneous power is nothing but just the multiplication of Hi and psi I. So we can club these together. But there is one difference. Because shadowing is going to be there for a long term, it is much more intuitive to include this shadowing in the association itself. See, fading is changing very fast. So sometimes the same base station can be can provide you very high power, sometimes can provide you very low power. But this change is changing so fast. So we do association just according to the average power and expect that most of the time the channel would be good. But when there is shadowing, the shadowings happen slowly and you get some time to switch your association in between. So you connect to the base station which provides you highest power with the shadowing considered, and when that shadowing affects the channel negatively and the received power goes below, then you just switch to a new base station which provide much more shadowing. So association is generally done while considering the shadowing, and that changes a lot of things. Second thing, shadowing is log normal. And if you try to calculate in a normal way, this distribution will make the whole analysis intractable. So we here will take an alternate approach. We can see that this cellular network can be shown equivalent to another cellular network, such that their whole SINR for the both cases is exactly the same. If we can find such system, and suppose we are able to calculate the performance of the other network, then eventually we get the performance of the first network also. So we'll just take one small diversion and first see how this SINR equivalency can be made. So two cellular networks, M1 and M2. Remember, we defined the complete definition or notation for general cellular networks. So with the same notation, two cellular networks M1 and M2 are called SINR equivalent if their SINR distribution at a typical user is the same for both networks. Okay, so we will write M1 is equivalent to M2 if the coverage probability for any threshold at a typical user for M1 is equal to coverage probability for that tau for M2 for all tau. And because their SINR are equal, then you can evaluate any of the network and the other network will also have the same SINR distribution. This is particularly helpful when one of them is really easy to compute. So in this section, we will try to talk about some examples where this SINR equivalency can be established, and then we will show how we can find an equivalent network to that the system model we just considered with shadowing. So let's see one cellular network where there is a fading and instantaneous association. Instantaneous association means I am going to include fading in the association. I will select the base station which provides me the maximum instantaneous receipt power. Instantaneous receipt power includes the fading. So I define M1 as Xi, which denotes the base station location, which is PPP with density lambda. I also consider the marked PPP, which has Xi and Hi for each I, and Hi is nothing but the fading to the typical user. This is just the marked version of phi. Here Xi also denotes the base station location. Because I am taking the instantaneous association, so my receipt power level is the instantaneous power, because based on that I am going to make the decision on association. So receipt power would be nothing but Hi into Xi minus alpha. I have removed other factors, but they can be incorporated without making any changes. So now the associated base station would be equal to the one which maximizes this power level. So X0 is the maximum argument of PR Xi flavor. Argmax means you maximize this metric, and the one index which maximizes it, that is the argument of this maximization. So X0 is the base station for which PR Xi level is the highest among all base stations in phi. Now because I already taken the instantaneous as a level, so instantaneous receipt power is nothing but just equal to the level, and in that case SINR is the instantaneous power divided by noise plus interference from all other base stations. Now we define a new cellular network which has no fading. And it has just the average receive power basis association. But we make one change, we redefine the base station location process. So in this new network, base stations are made from YIs, where YI is related to XI by the following relation. norm of yi minus alpha is equal to hi into norm of xi minus alpha, where h and xi comes from phi m of the first network. Okay, so we are relocating each base station xi to a new location yi such that yi norm minus alpha is equal to hi into xi norm minus alpha. And then we are not considering any hi, so this base station process will not have any fading, just the location would be at yi. Okay, so the same law of yi to xi, you can solve it and can also show that norm of yi is equal to hi minus to the power minus 1 upon alpha I into xi. See, this condition only gives the norm of yi, because if you know xi and hi, you will get the norm of yi. Location of yi includes the norm also and the angle also. You can take any angle, actually that is not going to change anything, because eventually the base station location, distance between the base station and the user matters, not the exact angle. So for completeness case, you can just take a random angle of yi, or just the same angle of xi can be associated with yi. Okay, so let's take the second one. We assume angle of yi is the same as the angle of xi. So in that case, yi would be given in hi minus 1 upon alpha into xi. So yi is equal to some scaled version of xi. Now the new point process which I am defining is in that network M, the base stations are located according to yi. So you take xi's and you displace them to new yi's, and that's how you get the base station of the new network. Now it's an independent displacement because yi depends only on xi, and if fading associated with it, it does not depend on any other points. So if we recall from the previous classes that if you displace the points of a PPP independently according to some probability law, the new point process you get is also a PPP. So this network you get, the base station actually follow a PPP. Now we have to compute the density of this PPP. So we can apply the same method we have used in the past to calculate the density of the displaced PVP. One thing you can notice, we are only scaling the xi distance to get yi. So if the original point process is stationary, the new point process should also be stationary, because this displacement does not depend on location. Okay, it will also be isotropic because it doesn't depend on the angle. So for such scenarios, it's easy to compute the density. I can just take a ball of R and compute density according to it. So let's take this. Suppose the density of or the expectation measure of the new PPP is lambda equivalent. Then lambda equivalent of A denotes the number of points of this new PPP in set A. So this is nothing but summation of indicator of all yi belongs to A. This expectation is with respect to the new PVP. Now there is a one-to-one correspondence, so I can write the same expectation in terms of xi's also, where xi comes from phi. So in that case, the same number would be equal to expectation over all 5 points, such that yi belongs to A, but yi is written in terms of xi as hi minus 1 upon alpha into xi. So the new condition would be you sum over all points of xi and check when hi minus 1 upon alpha xi belongs to A. Because if this belongs to A, it means yi will belongs to A once you displace this point. Now this is just a summation over the mark point process location. I can apply the Campbell theorem for the mark point process, and what I will get is integration of lambda, which is the density of the original point process, expectation with respect to h, and the function fx dx. So function is here is indicator that hi or h minus 1 upon alpha x belongs to A. So instead of hi I wrote h, but it's actually same. Now we don't have any points, it's just the integration. So I just write h because earlier there were many h1, h2, h3. Now there is only one h which has the same distribution as the rest of the marks. Okay, now I can take, because the linear operation, I can take the expectation outside the integration, and it will become lambda expectation of integration of indicator x h minus alpha belongs to A dx. To simplify further, we will take A as a ball of radius r at the origin. So if you do this, indicator that any point y belongs to A is same as saying that norm of y is less than r if A is ball of 0. Okay, because any point which has norm less than r will be in the ball of 0, r. So here also the indicator which says h minus 1 upon alpha x belongs to A, which will be that the norm of this, which is h minus 1 upon alpha into norm of x, should be less than r. You can do further manipulation and find out it is equivalent to lambda expectation of integration indicator that norm of h is less than or equal to rh 1 upon alpha dx. Okay, now summation of any indicator over a set. So this condition is equivalent, norm of x is less than or equal to rh plus rh to power 1 upon alpha, is same as saying that x belongs to a ball of radius rh 1 upon alpha with center origin. Okay, let's call that ball as b1. Then this is nothing but indicator, integration of indicator x belongs to this ball b1 into dx. Now if you integrate any indicator of a set over whole r square, you just get the volume of that set or the area of that set. Okay, so just to say it again, integration of indicator x belongs to A dx is nothing but the size of A. With the same logic, this integration will be just the area of the ball, which is equal to pi into radius square, which is pi into rh 1 upon alpha square. This is nothing but pi r square h2 by alpha. Lambda is outside and there is also an expectation. Now the inside term, the expectation with respect to h, so all other term can be taken out. This will be equal to lambda pi r square expectation of h2 by alpha. And lambda pi r square is nothing but the area of the ball with radius r and origin and center as origin. Okay, now you can see this intensity measure is this intensity measure is of any set is equal to some constant into area of that set. This means it's a stationary process. It's a uniform density, and you can compute the density is actually equal to that multiplicative factor, which is lambda e of h2 by alpha. Okay, because we said this in earlier case also, if the expectation measure of any set is just equal to multiplication of the area of the set, then it's a uniform point process and the density is constant. So based on this new base station process, we can define a new cellular network, which is M2. It is defined in the following way. The base station process, which we denote as phi equivalent, is a PPP with the density lambda equivalent and is made from all yi's, which each yi is created by displacing axi according to the law we just discussed. Then the power level which will be used for association is just equal to norm of yi minus alpha. There is no fading in this case, so the power level you don't have to worry about whether you take instantaneous or the average. There is no randomness, so it's just fixed if given yi. So association will also be done based on the received power. So yg naught, which is the best base station, which is equal to the argument of maximization of this levels over all yi belonging to phi equivalent. Instantaneous power similarly is just equal to this level power, and the assigner is defined in the same way. Just notice that this M2 is created by construction from M1. It means each realization of M2 is created from one realization of M1 by displacing the base station location and then just selecting the serving base station in the following way. This is very clear. The probability of that realization in M1 is also equivalent to the derived realization in M2. Now if we compare one realization of M1 to the derived realization in M2, you will notice that because of the way yi is derived, if you compare the received power n level in M2 network, which is equal to norm of yi minus alpha, and if you see the received power in M1, which included the fading, that is equal to hi norm of xi minus alpha. Because of the construction, they are both same. It means in both realization, the power level is same. Because that is same, when you maximize it, the same index will maximize both networks. Sorry, the same network will maximize the power level. It means the base station selected in M2 according to association is same as the base station selected in M1. If the selected base station index is same, and the instantaneous power will also be same, because in M1 instantaneous power is again hi into x prime minus alpha, and here the instantaneous power is also equal to yi minus alpha. They are both same. So in this means the serving base station is same, the power from each base station is the same, so assigner will also be same in the both realization. Okay, and this is true for every realization in M1 and M2. Every realization of M2 is connected to realization in M1 with the same probability, and in that realization assigner is also the same. So this, from the coupling argument, you can say if two different processes have connected realization with the same probability and their assigner is also same, which means assigner distribution in both network will be same. Okay, so the main thing is we change the base station process and we set association law and other factors in the modified in the same way so that the SNR equivalential is maintained. One thing we can notice in the last discussion is that the equivalent distribution density of the equivalent cell network depends on the fading just by a moment relation. We saw lambda equivalent is equal to lambda into expectation of h2 by alpha. It means that no matter what is the distribution of h, if this moment is same, the equivalent density would be same, and of course it will be PPP. How is this result important? There are some very complicated distribution for which analysis is not tractable. But that does not matter because you can convert those network to an equivalent cell network with the equivalent density, and that distribution does not matter as long as we can compute the moment of the distribution. Second thing we also saw in the previous case, we took the instantaneous power is equal to the power level for both M1 and M2. Suppose there are more random variables between it. It means the power level is as same as what we discussed in both M1 and M2, but let's introduce one or two more random variables G1, Gi, and suppose Fi, and the instantaneous power is equal to Fi into Gi into the power level in M1. Similarly, M2 will also not change. We will preserve this random variable. We will only capture Hi and Xi converted to Yi by the displacement. So power level would be just norm of Yi minus alpha. But once we compute the instantaneous power, we again multiply those Gi and Fi to norm of Yi minus alpha. We preserve those random variables. Okay, you will see the assigned distribution is still the same. Okay, so it's okay to merge some random variables and convert to an equivalent network. Now with this idea, we will again use the same thing for shadowing. Recall our network for shadowing, and we will try to convert or find an equivalent assigner network, cellular network, which does not have the shadowing but may have fading. Okay, and for which the analysis is easy. Again, to point this out, shadowing is a long-term effect, so we will include this in association. Okay, so the average power received from the base station when this shadowing is included, or in other words, this is also the power level which will be used for association, is equal to transmit power into Xi norm minus alpha into psi I, which is the shadowing. Now it will seems like the presence of this psi I, which is a log normal distribution, will complicate the analysis. But we will show that by the same technique, we will merge this Xi and psi I together to form an equivalent network while preserving all other random variables like fading to a equivalent cellular network for which analysis is easy, and that network will not have the shadowing psi I. Okay, so let's define a new point process phi equivalent, which is the base station process, from the construction from Xi. So each location of Yi is connected to the location Xi by the following relation: Yi is equal to psi I to the power minus 1 upon alpha into Xi, where Xi belongs to phi. Okay, this is same as the previous case. We can show that this Yi is also a PPP, and we will need to compute its density in the same way. Okay, so you can show that this new Boas station process, the expectation measure is given by of a ball of origin with center at origin, and radius r is given by lambda pi r square into expectation of psi to pi alpha. So the density would be equal to lambda into expectation of psi to pi alpha. Again, does not matter what is the distribution of x, only thing we need is the moment of this shadowing gain, the 2 by alpha moment of the gain. This says the same thing, just compute the density and show it's a TPP, it's a stationary PPP with this density. Okay, once we have computed this, you can make the same argument that the first shadowing network, suppose that is M1 and this place is M2. You can say we have created the base stations of M2 with the location yi from the base station process in M1. So there is one-to-one mapping from the realization of M1 to M2. The power level is going to be same in both cases. The shadowing has, remember the shadowing M1 network has the average base station, average received power base association. We are not considering fading in the association in that case, but we are considering the shadowing. When we convert it to M2, there is no shadowing. So the received power is just norm of phi minus alpha. We showed both are equal just by the construction. Now there may be some fading in the both networks. We preserve that. Suppose the fading is Hi, so the instantaneous power is Hi into the power level. Both in M1 and M2, I'm not going to change that. So in that case, instantaneous power will become equal because the power level is same and Hi is same in both cases. When this is equal, the assigner will also be equal. So the same argument can be applied. Two networks have one-to-one mapping between each realization, and they have those relation have same probabilities, and in that relation assigner is also same. It means the assigner of both network is same. Okay, so the assigner distribution of the shadowing case is equal to assigner distribution of a network where there is no shadowing and the same fading. So if the fading is exponential, then we have already computed it. The result is given in 30, which is same as the previous case. Only difference is the density is now lambda into expectation of x2 by alpha. And the rest of the equation is exactly the same. Now we will discuss the cell network without fading case. Up to now we were considering fading, now we will consider without fading. And we saw that in the mobile ad hoc network case, it was difficult to compute when the network did not have fading. The similar insight we will get here, although there is a technique by which we can derive for the fading case also. And you can guess it is from the equivalence. So let's consider a cellular network without fading. System model is same as the previous case. The base stations are located according to a homogeneous point process of density lambda in R square space. Users are independently located. We will take a typical user at the origin by 0. The average received power is, or simply the received power, which is here power level, is equal to transmit power into x to power minus alpha. There is no fading, so average is not really required. We will apply the highest received power base association. So we'll select the base station which will provide the highest power level. So association function is just the identity function. From the power level, you just select which maximize GP, and we will maximize just P, so GP is equal to P. We are not going to apply any fading, there is no fading, so instantaneous power is same as the power level. So again HP will also be equal to P. Okay, remember this HP function is a function of the power level which cites the relation between the power level and the instantaneous power level. So because both are same, HP is just equal to P. So now instantaneous power would be equal to transmit power into Xi minus alpha. Okay, serving power and the interference can be computed same way. Serving power would be from x0, which is transmit power into x0 minus alpha, and the interference will be caused by all the base stations except x0 by transmit power into norm of xi minus alpha. Assigner can be similarly written serving power divided by interference plus noise. The distance of the serving base station can be similarly computed. It is given by 2 pi lambda r into exponential minus lambda pi r square, and indicated that r is greater than or equal to 0. Now we will characterize the interference, and it will be in the same way. The interference, we will find a new independent base station process from Silvernack theorem, saying that condition on the tagged base station location, the rest of the base station is still PPP. So the interference from this new PPP will is denoted by I2, has the same distribution as I. So Laplace transform will also be the same. So we can apply the Laplace transform of I2. Just remember there is no fading HI in between. Okay, but we will find the Laplace can be very similarly computed as in the previous case. So to compute this Laplace, we will say this is equal to Laplace of I2, and I2 is given as exponential of minus summation of transmit power into norm of yi to power minus alpha, and indicator that norm of yi is greater than norm of x0. Remember, this indicator is coming because of the association law that all the interfering base station must exist outside the ball of radius x0 at the origin, at the center at origin. Okay, and that is the same argument as the last case, that because of the association there is an exclusion ball, that no other base station can be closer than the serving base station x0. So we'll put this indicator because phi2 is an independent PPP, it's not condition. So it may happen some base station come inside this ball. So once you put this indicator, all those base stations are not counted in the interference. Okay, so I can convert this exponential to of exponential power summation to the product of exponential terms in the same way. I will not discuss this because this is exactly same as the last case, only the fading term is missing. Same way you can show the Laplace is then equal to exponential of indicator r square minus the space ball of 0 comma r g ball of radius r0 at origin center, and 1 minus exponential of spt norm of y to the power minus alpha dy. Okay, same, the exclusion ball is coming in the limits because of the indicator, and there is no expectation with respect to h, so only the exponential minus term is here. Okay, you can convert it to the polar coordinates and compute the Laplace transform. Okay, there is some difference because there is no fading h term, so there is no 1 upon 1 plus h terms. Limit is again from r0 to infinity, which is the same case as the previous case. Now let's come back to the coverage probability. We will see the coverage probability is equal to probability that SINR is more than threshold. We apply the same method. We will condition respect to the serving base station, because condition on serving base station we know the distribution of interference. So we will say that condition on R0 location of the serving base station, probability of SINR is greater than tau is the inner term, and then we decondition with respect to the distribution of R0, which we know. If we look at the middle term, which is the probability that SINR is more than threshold condition on R0, we can write the SINR term as transmit power into R0 to the power minus alpha divided by sigma n square plus interference. These are all condition on R0 is equal to R. So again you can take the term sigma n square plus I on the right hand side to become tau into sigma n square plus I, then that there is no random variable except I here, because R0 is also a condition and there is no fading, so only random variable is I here. So this can be written as probability that I is less than tau inverse transmit power R to power minus alpha. Remember, R is coming because of R0. R0 is equal to R here, and minus sigma n square. This is condition on R0 equal to R. And then e to power minus lambda pi r square, R dr, and 2 pi lambda will come outside. Now the rest terms are easy. Only term which is confusing here is, which is complicated, is probability that I is less than something. Condition on R0. We know the distribution of I condition on R0 as we know the Laplace transform, but we do not know the CDF of I. Ideally, from Laplace transform we can compute the CDF of I, but this gives a complicated expression. The way you compute from CDF from the Laplace transform is using a lemma called Gil-Pallas lemma. It's basically you are inverting Laplace transform to get the PDF or the CDF. So if you apply Gil-Pallas lemma, which will convert the Laplace transform to the CDF, it will be in the following integral format. So you put that, and the final expression you will get is 2 pi lambda integration from 0 to infinity e to power minus lambda pi r square r dr in the end, and the middle term is probability that I is less than something, and that is actually written in a integration of Laplace transform term multiplied by some other term, exponential complex term, and then taking the imaginary power. This integration is a complex, integration involves terms which are complex in nature because they are j, and so it is little difficult to compute. Now to further solve this, we will require a new tool called Campbell-Mackay theorem. I will discontinue discussion here for now. Before and then we will move to uplink and one more scenario, and after that I will come back to this Campbell-Mackay theorem and we will see how we can further compute this cell network without fading. The term will also be used to analyze the instantaneous power-based association, which we have not covered yet.